Live on location from India, it's Conscious Living. Today we're standing on the banks of the holy Ganges River, personified by the goddess Ganga. Hindus believe that the river is both pure and sacred, and that bathing in it can remove sins and karma, heal themselves and their loved ones, and facilitate moksha, or liberation, from the cycle of life and death. Though it runs through over 1,500 miles of the most populated, industrialized, and polluted regions of the world, Ganga Mata, or Mother Ganga as she is affectionately called, has astounded scientists for decades with its self-purifying minerals and other chemical properties that keep the river pure and free from putrefaction.
And it's quite cold right now.
It's very cold.
But you can feel the spiritual energy, and it feels holy. What can I say?
Yeah, you kind of feel like, healing is moving all the way up from my feet to the top of my head and beyond. And that's really what being in India is all about. There's spirituality embedded into every fiber of this beautiful culture. It's in the temples, it's in the textures, it's in the smells, it's in the colors. And that's really what makes India so unique and amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of sounds,
Very
there's a
loud
lot of
sounds.
noise, there's a lot of honks,
Firecrackers.
there's a lot of, right.
Horns
Big
honking.
buses with ballads as horns, and the smell, you mentioned the smells are really interesting because, there's cows walking everyhere, there's cow poo-poo everywhere, there's monkeys, there's goats, there's amazing Indian food, there's what can only be described as sewage in many different instances.
Floating
A couple
in
of our
different
hotel rooms had
areas.
that, which was interesting. But overall, I mean, it's spirituality in the midst of chaos.
Yeah. And that's the theme for this episode. Despite how chaotic and strange other cultures' religious practices may appear from the outside, they all have one universal goal in common: connecting to the divine. So coming up, we visit an ashram in the backwoods of Charlottesville, Virginia, that's helping devotees from diverse faiths, races, and cultures come together and deepen their spiritual practice through yoga, meditation, and fresh vegetarian cuisine. Then we're in Bali, Indonesia, to learn how the indigenous honor the divine each day with sacred flower offerings.
And for those who have a religious experience whenever they chow down on yummy treats, stay tuned for the most heavenly candied yam recipe on the planet. What else are we doing on this episode?
I don't know. You're going to have to stay tuned to check it out. I know one thing we're doing. We're going to take a dip in this holy River Ganga. We'll see where that takes us. We got some of our own karma to burn, so we got to work through some things.
Yes, and it's got a strong current, so hopefully it doesn't take us too far down.
All this coming up. Don't go away.
Satchidananda Ashram Yogaville. This is Shanti. How may I serve you?
In the name of yoga, you want to speak about peace. If you can't experience it in your own life, if you can't live with other people and maintain peace, in spite of challenges, in spite of differences. How can you model that for the entire world? Words don't give us hope, but examples give us hope.
Perfect. Yeah. Yep. We're going to do the meal prayer, and we're going to start on the left side with the Sanskrit, and then move over to the right side, and that's the English. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om, beloved Mother Nature, you are here on our table as our food.
Swami Satchidananda designed Yogaville to be a spiritual home for whoever would abide by the yogic teachings such as nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, and wanted to live with others, to support one another, to go deep in our practices, and basically living a life of discipline, dedication, and devotion.
Let this holy day bring this light into you so that you can celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year, all the holy days, all the time.
And from different places. Starting there, there's photos and different artifacts representing from Gurudev's early days, his mother, his father, his begging bowl. He used to threaten us, if you people don't behave, I still have my begging bowl. I will walk out the door tomorrow. Not threaten, but he'd remind. Those are various awards. The Integral Yoga Teachings of Sri Swami Satchidananda is a comprehensive system that addresses every level of the individual: physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual, with the idea of having harmonious, balanced development. The objective is to become easeful in body, not diseaseful, peaceful in mind, so that the life can be useful. And when we are easeful, peaceful, and useful, we become fit, we become open to experience our true nature, that supreme peace and joy within.
Let's give the Goddess Ganga a round of applause for helping me.
One of the first messages of Swami Satchidananda when he came to the West was, eat clean, organic food. Food makes the body, food makes the mind as well. Because once the mind in particular is purified, in particular is clean and calm, it becomes like a clear mirror to reflect our true nature without any distortion. There are several levels why vegetarianism is important. First level, nonviolence. In the name of sustaining ourselves to cause the least amount of harm possible. Also, if you examine the human body, we are physically set up to resemble more the herbivores rather than the carnivores. So this food is more conducive to be digested and assimilated most efficiently. And if in the name of yoga we do all these practices and at the same time toxify ourselves with our intake, we're working at cross purposes. So in that regard, from the very beginning, he encouraged that we have our own organic farm so that we could grow the food naturally, and not only naturally, but with all love.
Hi. There you go. Hi. Yeah.
Might be aphids.
Really?
Yeah, which isn't easy.
No, it's not.
A good example of what love would be. You see her wound on the front of her. They hurt her? Of her face. What? She was neglected so long that her head grew, and the halter had to be sliced out of her head by a veterinarian. But she says, now I know I have a home and I'm just as happy as him.
Yes, he wants to care for
Just get the outside ones. Say prayers for the little plants while we cut them. Gratitude.
All right. These are white.
Well, most people who come for the first time come for a welcome weekend. It's a designed guest experience. We also have our academy where we conduct teacher training programs, many trainings throughout the year. And then many people wanting to dive more deeply will apply for our light program. This is called Living Yoga Training. It's a month-long experience that can be extended up to 3 months if one wishes, in which one goes deeper into living the spiritual practices, living a spiritual life full-time.
Asian philosophies, and particularly by the Bhagavad Gita. He was really inspired, and you can see the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita in his writing, in his poetry. So,
perfection in action is yoga. An act becomes perfect when you do it with all joy and without expecting anything in return.
Hatha Yoga is the portal through which most people find yoga. But Hatha Yoga is only one aspect. In fact, all the different asanas that we do in the name of Hatha Yoga were designed in ancient times by the yogis when they saw that people were not able to sit steadily and well in order to go deep in their meditation. The goal of all the asanas was to find a steady meditation pose so the mind could settle and go deep, and ultimately we would transcend the mind to experience what the yogis call the presence of the divine within us. We can talk a lot about the need for harmony and interfaith dialogue and understanding, but experiencing it in some way by getting inside a space devoted to that and feeling the peace that has developed there over all these years when people from so many different faiths and traditions have come to pray and meditate. When you go into the main sanctuary, in the center there's a beautiful white light that moves upward to the top of a dome. There it splits into 12 blue rays. Each ray comes down and illuminates an altar dedicated to one of the world's major faiths. The yantra is an abstract, universal, geometrical representation of the divine. For the Integral Yoga organization, it represents our main deity. He wanted all of us to embrace a more universal spirituality, which is what Integral Yoga aims at doing. Lotus gives visual testimony to the truth that we all come from and eventually return to the same source. And the message that is being conveyed by Lotus is rejoice in the diversity, celebrate it, and at the same time remember the unity that connects us all. It's not another religion, but it embraces the principles that are foundational to major faith traditions, and it provides tools, techniques, practices that can help anyone go deeper in their own faith tradition. He performed an experiment here. It was a total experiment. Whenever people would come and visit, and then they would be about to leave, he would say, "Remember, this is your home. You are welcome here anytime."
The waters here in the Ganges River sure are cold, but definitely sacred. While we take a dip in these healing waters, stick around while Bianca learns how to make Balinese sacred flower offerings. Coming up.
One of the first things you notice about Bali is how it makes you feel. The veil between the material, seen world and the spiritual, unseen world is thin here. So if you're open to the energy, magic awaits around every corner. Sacred healing rituals abound, from elaborate village temple ceremonies in the local banjars or neighborhoods, where women walk tall with elaborate offerings, known in Balinese as canang sari, wearing traditional temple dress, comprised of a colorful lace top, ceremonial sash, and batik sarong. Some of the offerings tower over 3 feet high, and some are more simple, daily offerings. So I decided to delve deeper to understand the true meaning of the countless offerings taking place each day in thousands of temples across the island. So I signed up for Svargaloka's offering making class, guided by Balinese local Kadek Puspawati, known affectionately as Puspa, manager of Svargaloka's Ayusha Spa. Each morning before work, she rises early to make special offerings for her family temple, then does the same for the spa. She showed me how to make my own offerings at home, using locally grown ingredients like bamboo leaf, marigold petals, and fresh grass shoots. Though they look simple, it didn't take me long to figure out that these intricate designs are actually quite complex.
In the middle. Yeah. Let's turn it. Yes. Ends. Yes. But the gods don't mind a lopsided one, right? Yeah.
Spins. When we do the offering, when we pray in, we put this in the temple, and then we put the incense on top, and then we put the place with the holy water, and then make a wish.
Many of us sing about angels during the holidays, but for some, angels are an everyday experience. Up next, a visit to Sedona, Arizona's magical Angel Valley.
I first fell in love with Sedona for the beautiful red rocks. But what keeps me coming back is the energy and vortexes, which for millennia have provided fertile soil for transformation and healing. So when I first heard about Angel Valley, I was intrigued. This rustic 70-acre retreat is a place where spiritual seekers come for guidance, emotional healing, and for many, a connection to their angel guides.
The angels have been around long before man began to, let's say, segment into a particular religion or a particular belief. It's about all religions, all beliefs. The Bible talks about them, the Quran talks about them, they're in almost all the Jewish faith talks about them. Our focus here is about spirituality. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and that's what the common denominator is. Whether you're a Jew, Gentile, Catholic, Mormon, makes no difference. We're all human beings having this connection with our spirituality that we call humanity. One of the things that Angel Valley is focused on is serving people on their journey into becoming their true, authentic, natural self. And we're all searching for that in one way or another. But Angel Valley meets people at whatever level they're at. It is an invitation for people to feel for themselves what is their truth.
Visitors to Angel Valley are invited to deepen their spiritual journey on either personal or group retreats, which can include hiking the vast mountain trails on and around the property with its countless animal guides, walking one of 2 labyrinths, which can help unwind the mind and open the heart for guidance. This one's a duplicate twice the size of the famous labyrinth at Chartres Cathedral in France. Taking a purifying dip in the magical waters of historic Oak Creek, or drinking the water from one of Angel Valley's numerous wells, some of which have been documented for their healing properties by world-renowned water scientist Dr. Masaru Emoto.
And when people are ready to just open up and be guided, it is magic where they will go. We have trails here on the property that takes you to the different vortex spots, different angel spots. For an example, there's a particular spot that if people have anger, they can go to that spot and the anger can literally be dealt with, transformed, if they're ready to let go of the anger. And there's other places for the heart, that when people need to open their heart, you can go there, and that opens the heart and allows people to feel more of their truth. So it all depends on what an individual's true purpose is on coming here. And it normally is not what your mind thinks. It's something other than what your mind can connect with. Because if your mind knew what you were going to do, you probably wouldn't come. One of the things that we focused on years ago, and that had to do with encouraging people to feel heaven on earth, create heaven on earth, and in their own way. And what we're doing is creating heaven on earth for people to experience it in their own unique way, in their own unique time.
Speaking of heaven on earth, stay tuned for Michael's riff on my mom's classic candied yam recipe, vegan style.
So you know, my favorite part of the holidays is the food. But you know what's the worst thing? It's going, maybe you don't eat for the day, you're going to a party, can't wait for that special holiday deliciousness, all the different sides, and you go in and there's not a vegan dish in sight. Ah, that's the worst. Even the greens have like bacon and fatback and all kinds of nastiness. Well, today, I'm going to show you a candied yams recipe. This is based on my mother-in-law's recipe. It's a southern recipe, the dirty south as we call it, okay? So let's start with our ingredients. We have our sweet potatoes. In the U.S., yams and sweet potatoes are actually the same thing. So we got 3.5 pounds of organic yams, 3 cups of vegan marshmallows. Now most marshmallows, people don't know this, has casein in them, which for all intents and purposes is pig intestines. Nasty, okay? These are amazing. These are so good. These are my favorite vegan marshmallow. These are dandies. You can get them anywhere. I get them on Amazon. You can get them at your health food store. Pig intestines need not apply. We have a 1/2 cup of pecans. We have 2 tablespoons of earth balance, a cup of brown sugar. We have a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then we just have a dash of sea salt and a dash of nutmeg. And then we've got some lemon that we're going to squirt over the top to really boost up the flavors. And then a 1/2 cup of water for our sauce that we're going to make right now. Take your 3.5 pounds of sweet potatoes and you're going to boil it 20 minutes or so. You could do 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. Let them cool down and then you're going to peel them and cut them. You're just going to do a nice, really rough pulling off of the skins here. You're just going to skin it. We're just going to cut this once, okay, in half, and then we're going to cut it in half again. So basically we have quarters. Okay, we've taken the skin off. It's okay if there's a little skin on it. And then we're just going to do 1-inch pieces, okay? Nice, just like that. I've got my pre-greased cooking dish, okay? There's a pre-greased cooking dish, again with earth balance, little greaser grease. And then I'm just going to drop these in like this. Next up, we're going to make our sauce. We're going to put on our vegan butter, get our heat going. Drop in our 2 tablespoons of vegan butter. When I cook, my mouth waters. 1 cup of brown sugar. This is dark brown sugar. Some people like using light. You know I like it dark. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, okay, just a little bit of cinnamon. All right, put in our 1/2 cup of water. We're going to get our dash of nutmeg and our dash of salt in there. Just go ahead and drop it in. We're just going to basically let it thicken up for about 10 minutes, okay? I'm going to get my whisk and we're going to start whisking. So now we got our sauce that's nice and thickened up, smelling terrific. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our yams and we're just going to pour this over, okay, making sure it's covering each bit of the candied yams. Nice. Oh my gosh, this smells so delicious. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it up with a bit of lemon here. Really brighten up the flavors. Okay. And then we're going to just mix it up. Make sure it's nice and mixed. Make sure everybody's got some of the fun juices happening. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop this in a 350-degree oven for about 25 minutes. Okay. Look at that. See, it's bubbling here. We got these juices going. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add our 1/2 cup of pecans and we're just going to mix it in. Drop these in. And I just took pecan halves and just gave them a rough chop. Your mama's going to do the boogaloo when she has these. Southern cooking. All right, so now we got our pecans mixed in. And now the pièce de résistance. Vegan marshmallows. Okay, and I'm just going to drop these in. Just covering the top. Just like that. We try to get some nice coverage, but obviously this is all about the art of vegan cooking. The art of vegan cooking. Okay, that one's for me. So good. Okay, so we're going to pop this back in the oven. I'm going to turn the oven up to 400. I'm going to pop this back in the oven for 10 minutes, and then we're ready to eat, baby. Oh boy, look at that. Unbelievable. So good. Look at how it's toasted, golden brown. I love how the marshmallows puff up. Now when you serve this, don't let them know it's vegan. Till they're done and they're raving about how good it is. Do I hear a boogaloo coming on? I think I do. I feel a boogaloo coming on. Let's give it a shot. Wow. Wow, that's really good. You got a little candied brown sugar. Those marshmallows are terrific on it. The pecans. Oh. That's how we do it here. Feeding yourself healthier, feeding your family healthier, feeding your vegan guests, making sure everybody's taken care of, because that's what the holidays are about, right? It's all about making sure everybody feels welcome. Everybody's welcome. Speaking of which, where's my wife? Bianca, you going to try this or what?
You called?
Voila.
Whoa, are these vegan candied yams?
You know they are.
The way my mama used to make them.
You know I got the magic, Miss Bianca.
Let me taste and find out for myself.
All right. Slamming, right?
Crunchy, sweet, tender, just like you. These are great.
I'm glad.
I wonder if we can get Mom to do it.
I don't know. I
think
was
we're both
asking the
wondering
same thing. I don't think so. Maybe we can get her to do the boogaloo.
I don't know if I want her to do the boogaloo.
Okay, maybe I'll do it for her.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Anyway, that's all we got this week. We'll see you next time.